Yeah, good afternoon once again, live in Ondo City. Here we are at AYOGEN Online Television. Once again, my name is Ade Omade Blessing, your very friend you are very much familiar with that has been giving you a lot of updates and issues that is very much obvious that we've been going through on our unionism and political status in the communities at large today. And I want to say a very wonderful Friday afternoon to every of our viewers out there. This afternoon, we're going to be discussing briefly some very important topics. And before we go, we want to just send out a little apologies for coming a little bit quite late to the program today. We are having some little technical issues that we need to put into a little solved. And with me this afternoon is my powerful comrade. Some of you might be a little bit familiar with, and we want him to just give you very brief introductions of himself, my guest speaker.
All right, thank you so much. Good afternoon, viewers at home. I still remain my humble self, Comrade Babalola Adekunle Isaac, popularly known by my political nomenclature as Aluta General. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you once again. You're very much welcome to every of our viewers, home and abroad. You can always go on to your page, subscribe to our YouTube page, and that is AYOGEN Online Television, and as well follow us and like us on our Facebook page. Previously, we actually discussed on some issues we deliberated on last week, and that is what we actually tagged as the role of genderism in politics. And I know a lot of people gave a lot of reactions, and we were able to trace some few things by my guest speakers then. This afternoon, we'll be going straight to the point because of our time. Like we'll be discussing these very important issues that is very, very sensitive in our communities that we all know today, which is very much obvious and eloquent. And that has to do with the role of our government of the day, definitely. I just want us to just look at it from this angle, look at it and view it from this. What do you really understand by liberty? And that is the same question the same topic and question we're going to be treating today. Help a friend to tell a friend, wherever you might think you are today, home or abroad. This is a section you are going to be enjoying a lot. That is going to be adding a lot of qualities and a lot of differences to your political life. It is the word liberty. What do you really understand by liberty, and how far has liberty been able to influence our community and political lifestyle today? And these are going to be the things I will be definitely be discussing today with my guest speaker, and as well be very, very eager and happy to have your reactions being contributed to our program today. So my guest speaker, in a very brief sentence before we go much further, we want to just give a little brief explanation in your own understanding. What do you really understand by liberty, the word liberty?
All right, thank you so much. I still remain my humble self, Comrade Babalola Adekunle Isaac. Our liberty, to my own understanding, is the process of attaining freedom.
Yeah.
The process of attaining freedom. So in a kind of situation, in an environment or in a community, or even a society, whereby we were given chance and availability to do some things as far as an individual is concerned. That's what it means by the word liberty, to my understanding.
Yeah, thank you. That is a very great definition. You just want to say liberty is an attainment to freedom, like
Of course.
you gaining your freedom.
Exactly.
And it's a question that we really have to ask from this your definition. Now, exactly in a community we are today, are we really having this liberty? Like, is there really a freedom? Are we really enjoying the so-called freedom you just give as a definition, the so-called liberty in our community? From your own view and angle, what can you say to this, like these questions? Like, are we really enjoying this liberty?
All right. Thank you so much. Even merely looking at it from my own perspective, I believe as far as we are Nigerians, I believe we are actually enjoying the dividends of liberty, but not to the fullest. That's what I can actually say, because when we talk about liberty, we talk about freedom. When we're talking about freedom, we will not left behind some aspects and perspectives. Like when we talk about freedom of this country, we talk about freedom of movement, we talk about freedom of speech, the freedom to be voted and be voted for, the right to so many things as far as the country is concerned. So looking at it from this side, we can actually say we are actually enjoying what is called liberty, but it's not to the exact fullest we can actually say.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. This actually make me reminds me of the colonial age, the colonial era, our colonial masters. Before you want to start talking about freedom or liberty, then definitely something has been in existence, like which we were a subject, like which a particular community or society might be a subject to. Definitely. And now, looking at from that angle, my guest speaker, when you are talking about this area of colonizations, now what differences can you actually give between being colonized? Like, do we want to start using the word being enslaved now, or a moment you are thinking you are having your freedom or you are having your liberty? And those two areas, those two differences, now what can you actually give? Now, what is your own opinion, your own reactions to this? And those differences between the time of those colonial activities now compared to the liberty age and era we are today.
Yeah, thank you so much. Looking critically from the colonial area, we can actually see from history and some things we met that the ways by which our people was being led in that time was very, very different. And in that time, we believe the colonial masters are the one giving us the rules and guidelines of what we should do. There is a lot of things we affirm not to do. They give us rules, they give us guidelines.
Yes, yeah, I want to agree to what you are actually saying.
Exactly.
They give us rules
and
there was actually guidelines, Then coming to a comparison of our liberty age today,
of course,
there is no set of rules
and guidelines.
Definitely guidelines.
Of course.
Just like I should say, according to your own view. Now, what do you now think we are enjoying as a result of this freedom?
Actually, if the people that fight for this our independence then that time believe that the government are meant to be ruled by its people. But if we actually look at what they're actually emphasizing, they want a better Nigerian. They want a kind of situation, a government whereby a black man will actually, they want evidence of democracy. But looking at it now, it has already been subjected out of what the guidelines are. From our past, we can actually see that, looking at Nigeria for an example, we see that during the time of this colonization, zones have their own assets and their own to actually claim for. And this gives them the opportunity to do everything they want to do in their own zone, in their own region, and come back to the national body, giving back to the colonial masters and people there that time that this is what we actually got from ours. But the people of that time, the leaders we have that time, believe that what we are actually doing is not right. We want everything to come together as a whole, and that's what brings about the fight for democracy. Then as time due that time, and this has actually been what they set up standard. But when we look at it today, we can actually see that the politicians, so-called leaders of today's, have actually gone out of that prospect. So they are actually neglecting the fact that these are still communists. They forgot that these people, the set of people, we are actually people, and that those people then actually by themselves. So that's what they actually. So looking at it, this time, I see that there is a lot of changes. There is a lot of things that has come out in the system of government. So the truthfulness and the already been changed. So we cannot actually compare that time to this era we have now.
Yeah, you are very, very right, I should say. And with that, according to the current situation in find ourselves today, like I just want you to just understand some things. Now, we might not have definitely witnessed most of the era, definitely, but likewise we can still say that we had lots of historical records
of them,
of what actually happened during the colonial era, and that is now to this very asking at the colonial era. That actually reminds me of this view. Then if you look at the school's curricular system, then you want to come to understand that there is a lot of benefit and evidences that